Hello everyone. In today's video, I will be talking about educational laws and policies in UK from historical and current perspective and how it affects schools, students and teachers alike. I will be talking about anti-discrimination law and policy in education in England and Wales. The idea that human beings should have a set of basic rights and freedom in UK has deep roots in Britain. There are some of the national and international milestones that have shaped the concept of human rights in Britain over the last 800 years. The first one that came up was Magna Carta in 1215. This English charter acknowledged for the first time that subjects of the crown had legal rights and that laws could apply to kings and queens too. Then came Habeas Corpus Act, followed by English Bill of Rights in 1689. The bill was a landmark moment in the political history of Britain because it limited the powers of monarch and set out the rights of Parliament. Then came in 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. After the Second World War, the international community recognized the need for a collective expression of human rights. Adopted by General Assembly of United Nations in 1948, the Declaration sets out a range of rights and freedoms to which everyone everywhere in the world is entitled. Another milestone was in 1965, International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, followed by, in 1975, Sex Discrimination Act. The act made sex discrimination illegal in the areas of employment, education, and the provision of good facilities and services. It was followed by, in 1995, Disability Discrimination Act, and in 1998, Human Rights Act. In force since October 2000, the human rights incorporated into domestic law the rights and liberties enshrined in the European Convention on Human Rights. People in the UK no longer had to take complaints about human rights breaches to the European Court, and British courts could now hear these cases. The most recent one is the Equality Act 2010. The Equality Act brought together more than 116 separate pieces of legislation into one single act, a new streamlined legal framework to protect the rights of individuals and advance equality of opportunity for all. The duties set out in Chapter 1 of Part 6 of the Equality Act apply to all schools. These provisions protect people at the school and, in the case of admissions, those applying or wishing to apply for admission. Former pupils are also protected from discrimination and harassment. The protected characteristics. The Equality Act lists a number of characteristics which must not be used as a reason to treat some people worse than others. These are age, disability, race, sex, pregnancy, gender reassignment, religion or belief, sexual orientations. How schools, students, and teachers can deal with discrimination. Do not be afraid to stand up for yourself when you encounter bullying around racism. You don't have to be mean, just show that you won't let these comments go on. You can say, "Why would you say something like that?" Or, "That's a really mean thing to say." If someone being bullied sees you stand up for yourself, you may inspire him or her to stand up as well. Fight back with knowledge. When someone says something racist to you, get the last word and make it count. Responding in knowledge can feel empowering as well as arm you with information as power. Respond with humor. While you may strongly dislike racist comments, you also may want to approach the situation more lighthearted, yet to the point. If someone makes fun of an immigrant's accent, say, "Hey, how's your second or third language coming along?" Create a safe atmosphere at school. Report offenses. If you have experienced prejudice, racism, or discrimination, document it and bring it up to an authority like a teacher, school, dean, or principal. This is an important way to make sure that these actions do not happen in secret, but the people are aware and taking action. It's important to show others that this kind of behavior is not okay and will not be tolerated. You may also join a diverse organization. It's unlikely you're the only person in your school who feels on the sidelines because of your race. You may be the only Korean at school, but there are probably other people that aren't in the majority. Ask your school to teach about racism. Teaching about racism in school is as important so that all students can learn about what racism is, how it hurts, and how not to tolerate it. Ask your teacher and even your principal to include units on racism built into the curriculum. There are lots of books and lesson plans that address racism. Celebrate multicultural history at school. It is also important to know devastating events in order to be informed and not to make the same historical mistakes such as Armenian genocide. It is important not to forget these events and the people that lived and died in them. Schools create a statement on inclusiveness and a zero tolerance policy. If your school doesn't have these in their code of conduct or policies, strongly encourage the teachers and administration to adopt these policies at school. It's important for schools to create clear guidelines in regard to race and treatment of people on the school campus. Inclusion can mean that all students have access to education and receive support, and that all school members feel safe from marginalization and harassment. Zero tolerance policies often include banning weapons and drugs, but can also include behaviors that include racist remarks and hate crimes based on race. School, Schools can more effectively implement zero tolerance policies by creating higher stakes, such as pairing with juvenile justice or juvenile detention centers. Discuss race. Somehow, racism doesn't just go away by avoiding discussions about it. Yes, it may feel uncomfortable, but get some friends and classmates together and have an honest discussion about racism, what it looks like and feels like, and how it affects your school. When you talk about racism, it actually helps with more understanding and more tolerance. This is Sarah Atif signing off. Hope my video has been helpful for teachers and students alike. Bye bye.